Boom! Boom! There
Boom,
it is,
chakalaka.
ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday. What happens when marketing and technology meet? We get Marknology. What does that mean?
Oh,
We're going to find
okay.
out right now.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business
Bros.
Yeah, ladies and gents, it is time to drop the heat.
The heat. Here we go. All right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, drop a review, help other like-minded business owners find value from our what? Awesome guests. While we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz to schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow us on all social media at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited, so honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. There's been a lot of buzz lately around people making tons of cash after starting an Amazon FBA store. Our guest today is an Amazon brand accelerator, and he's helping people build these online businesses and create cash flow that works while you sleep. Our guest is a thought leader in Amazon branding space. He found early success as a corporate e-commerce manager, scaling corporate brands new to Amazon, topping over $1 million in new sales time and time again with multiple products. Now he's taken what he's learned, launched his own business, and has helped some of the biggest brands in the world, including Adidas, Nylabone, Guardian Bikes, and Swiss, accumulating over $200 million in online sales. Hot damn! So if you want to learn how to do this and this Amazon FBA stuff, create cash flow for yourself, tune in to hear from someone who does it better than most. Joining us today from Marknology, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Morgan!
That's great.
Gotta have you with that proper
I love
welcome,
that
dude.
shit. I love that shit.
Dude, that's how we roll, man. That's what we do. All right, dude. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, it is Andrew, and the company is Marknology. So if I get mixed up, dude, it's happened over and over again. His name is not Mark. His name's Andrew. Andrew, tell me about. I kind of gave a little hook at the beginning. Where did Marknology even come from? What's the idea behind it?
Okay, so I got a degree in computer science. Hated it. Honestly, I was doing networking. I took a chance at a startup about 9 years ago, got in the Amazon space, was working corporate as an e-commerce manager 2 years, started freelancing, got top 10 in the world on a site called Upwork way back then, just getting reviews and working with businesses there. And there weren't a lot of people doing Amazon 7-8 years ago. So it's kind of like I was just cherry picking. And I went on my own. We turned 7 in August, named the company Marknology. E-commerce just kind of being that middle spot between marketing and technology. And it was super cheap domain. So I was poor at the time. So it was an easy way to come up with your own word, and like Uber and Nike and everybody else. I came up with Marknology, and now there's 15 of us here in Kansas City. I work with my sisters, so I think it's super dope. You brothers work together. They moved here like in year 3 to kind of help me scale and build what I was doing. So we're a family team, having a lot of fun building brands on Amazon.
All right, what's the secret sauce, man? Because and well, you know what? Let me start off with this. 7 years ago, you were cherry picking stuff, right? So you were picking on what brands you wanted to work with. It was pretty easy. You had very little competition. Today, are we oversaturated? Is this something that we can even jump into?
Okay, so to clarify, I wasn't picking the brands I wanted. There just weren't that many US based Amazon consultants, period. It wasn't a thing. There were no Amazon conferences. There were no Amazon gurus. There were no YouTube channels with Amazon expertise. There was honestly nothing. And so I just was like, I'm an e-commerce manager by day, and I'm doing Amazon at work. And if you need help with some of your projects, hit me up. And so I was getting a lot of work. I got Adidas through there, some other clients like that. And that's when the light bulb went off. That was like, okay, I think a lot of people are going to need this kind of help. Like, let's go all in on Amazon. You're just getting good reviews. If you're doing anything and you're just getting 5-star reviews and getting paid, it's like, okay, I'm going to keep doing that. That's easy. And I would say that 7 years ago to sell on it, like, it was not easy to get business. I was almost too early. I honestly think I was almost too early of an adopter into this Amazon space. The only real people that were in the Amazon space are kind of, what you guys were talking about earlier with that Amazon FBA business. That's quite a bit different than what we do today, to be honest, even though that still gets a lot of the hype because it means anyone can have a business, anyone can have a dream, anyone can create something. And I'm all about that. But in the early days of Amazon, it was like major brands. And then it was like resellers, wholesalers, or private label people that are like getting a product, putting their label on it, and creating a brand on Amazon. It's a lot more sophisticated today. We're still launching brands every single day. It's never too late, especially if they're like known brands already. You can do it. It's just harder. It used to just be put your product up and sell a lot of stuff. If you could figure out the model, like you were winning. But what we do is a little bit more sophisticated than that. We're helping brands tell their story. We're helping with photography, advertising, logistics, SEO, category placement, organization, map pricing, brand protection, international expansion, strategy, you name it. Like, we are a one-stop shop.
That's a grip of stuff right there. So let's break some of it down a little bit. So first of all, what's the difference between starting an Amazon store and FBA?
Okay, so FBA is an acronym. If you're in the space, it means fulfillment by Amazon. And so all it really means is I want to have an e-commerce business where Amazon handles my shipping. That's the only difference. Even though people kind of lump it into this FBA business, what they're really meaning is I want to create a product just for Amazon that I use Amazon's fulfillment service, FBA, to then, like, I'm sending the product in, Amazon's actually the one shipping it to customers and stuff like that, and I'm just managing on Amazon. You can sell on Amazon. Plenty of sellers do it without using FBA, and you can have an Amazon business. So I think when people say creating an Amazon FBA business, what they mean is really, I have no goals of being in a brick and mortar. I have no goals of maybe even managing my own website or growing a brand through social media. I just want to create a product for Amazon, and I want to use Amazon's fulfillment service. To me, that is the real definition of what an Amazon FBA business is. What we do on a daily basis is, like, I just got back from a trip to Costa Rica. Woohoo! It was a lot of fun. We were talking about disconnecting before we went live. And, for me, it was just like I had Wi-Fi. I was out there. I did a couple podcasts. I just stayed in an Airbnb in the jungle and really disconnected. But I was also there to meet a manufacturer. And they're the largest manufacturer in Central America and in Costa Rica. They were the first to do craft beer from Costa Rica, local to Costa Rica. They were the first. They're the number one pet manufacturer. So pet treats, pet food, all that kind of stuff. And also with human cereal, think like Frosted Flakes, like really healthy stuff. Everything's like super healthy in Costa Rica. So that's kind of their thing. Said all that to say this. Manufacturers 2021 has changed everything. 2020, 2021 has accelerated things probably 5 to 10 years as far as e-commerce is concerned, in my opinion. And manufacturers are now saying, hey, we've always sold to brick and mortars, and that's been great for us. But what happens if they go down again? E-commerce now looks a lot more sexy to people than it did before. And manufacturers are now saying, instead of just like making product for Best Buy or Office Depot or Office Max and print toner or copy paper and making all those personal brands for those brick and mortar stores, they're saying, maybe we should create some brands for ourselves that we sell direct to customers. And they've never done that before. And so usually there's someone in the middle that's then selling that product, right? Like that is the Office Max selling HP printers products. You can't go on hp.com and buy it. You got to buy it through a Best Buy or whatever. And we're taking those manufacturers direct. Essentially, Amazon then becomes the middleman instead of needing to pay a middleman to get them there. So everyone wins. The customer wins and the manufacturer wins. Long story short, those are the type of people we're working with. We're working with businesses that have never been online or are online and just want to be more sophisticated. And I say online as in Amazon, or they've grown it themselves to an extent and they want experts to come in. There's a bunch of different reasons, but it's really not, we're doing branding, we're doing storytelling, we're doing kind of those high level things that a corporate company with an internal team would be concerned about. And we're trying to like lead the way. And it started with kind of that Amazon FBA, whatever everyone was doing in that space. And it's just grown to where working with more sophisticated businesses, digital first businesses, or businesses that want to be going direct to their consumers. And so we help them do that.
So even before 2020 COVID stuff happened, you're starting to see a lot of brick and mortar places kind of going under because people were just getting used to using Amazon as their prime source of getting products delivered to their home. I don't need to go shopping anymore. And so a lot of people were and still today are saying, retail is dead. Retail is on its way out. It's almost. But the skills of an entrepreneur in the retail space can be shifted. If I'm hearing you correctly, if a retailer can transform and move their same thought process on inventory, the same process on cost of goods and creating a product, they can just shift from going brick and mortar and maybe turn their brick and mortar place into more of a warehousing place, but still maintain their business and maybe even grow using a lot of these online platforms, not just Amazon, but also Walmart, I understand, is also moving into that same space. Am I hearing you correctly?
You're exactly right. And I'm super passionate about Amazon. And don't get me wrong, I understand. I've gone all in 9 years on Amazon, this marketplace. We're an Amazon agency partner as of 2020. We're doing the thing. Small team here in Kansas City doing the thing. And you're exactly right. Like it was amazing during the pandemic to see businesses pivot, in my opinion. I felt like there was entrepreneurship all around me coming back to life in some ways. And as much as there was like, the depression of some places closing and that sadness. And like, I was also seeing people rise above and pivot and like seeing the real entrepreneurial side of business owners come out. And I was just like, ooh, I was feeding off of it. And because you're right, like people can see Amazon as the monster or this like massive company. And I see that I'm taking, I've worked with over 300 brands. So let's not talk about who I'm working with now. Let's say like over the course of it, 300 brands that are smaller. They're not all Adidas. There's mom and pops, there's Made in KC, there's Almaeus, there's like, a lot of local Kansas City companies, really all over the world. They've had a small market like this where their brick and mortars can reach, and we've made it national, sometimes international. And so, yeah, they should pivot. Like I've been screaming that they should pivot or branch out, for years. And sometimes it just takes like a low to get people to realize that. But, there'll always be a space. So like, have you heard of the company Warby Parker?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Warby Parker is like an eyeglass company. These are Warby Parker. What they did was revolutionary in regards to startups. They sent you would get on warbyparker.com, you would order like 6 pair of glasses that you liked, like frames, and they would send you the frames to your house. You would try them on, but they didn't have the lenses in, and you would send them back. And if you had a prescription, you would send them your prescription. So you had to go get an eyeglass prescription at that time. But then you were getting glasses for like $100 with frames, with scratch proof and all this stuff. And glasses used to be like $350, $400 a pair. Now you can get 3 pair for the same price, right? And Warby Parker changed the game in that way because they were just figuring out e-commerce. Now years later, they exploded. But years later, now that they have e-commerce data of where their customers are that buy their products and zip codes and things like that, they open brick and mortars very strategically based on where they have good customer base. So there's always, in my opinion, there's always going to be a need for a brick and mortar. You're just not going to win by default now. You need to have an experience at your store. You need to repurpose the store, get lean, be realistic about what that is. At the very least, you can't treat customers that come in like crap anymore. And you got to be appreciative of everyone that comes in because they can definitely go somewhere else. So, yeah, I mean, I'm more of like a glass half full, especially when I'm thinking about e-commerce, but, brick and mortar owners, the products you have. One other thing I'm going to say to that is products that are like ready to be on a retail shelf and brick and mortar are traditionally way better in packaging and presentation than products that are made for Amazon FBA. Okay. So you can, if you're like a brick and mortar owner, you have a business that has like good packaging that like looks good on a shelf. It's like got a good box or whatever. And you come to Amazon, you're going to be quite a bit further ahead than a lot of products on Amazon that are just in a brown box or have just like built their product to sell online. They've never really had to think about how their product would sit or display on a shelf. So those are some of the things where I'm like, you have an advantage here. You understand, retail shelf space, and like, yeah, if people are just willing to pivot and embrace what they don't know, I think there's massive opportunities for lots of businesses.
Well, what are some of these pivots that need to happen? Because when you have a brick and mortar, you have the ability of traffic that's driving by or people that are walking by, window shoppers that can come in. When it comes to online, there's a lot more that's involved to get traffic. It's one thing to put your stuff out there. It's another thing to get traffic to actually come your way. So what kind of tips and advice can we give people who are interested in jumping into that space? What should they be focusing their attention on?
Well, Amazon and e-commerce in general are not the same. That's why I think Amazon is the mall of America. Amazon is the shopping mall. People are in there to buy stuff. They are walking by windows, right? So a website, you really do got to get people to come out to your location. It's kind of how I think about it. Like, you got to bust them in. You got to figure out how to find them. You got to do all the billboards and the Facebook ads and Instagram ads and bloggers and all that. Amazon is a little bit different. And I think that's why we've dominated here, is because Amazon already has the buyer there. That's why it's okay that they're taking bigger margins of your product, because they're essentially saying, hey, all right, we're going to cut you a deal and I'm going to send like 1,000 shoppers by your window today. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's what's happening on Amazon. So there's different strategies for different marketplaces, and that could be the same for Home Depot or anywhere else. And now you have to still have a good product that people want to buy with good reviews and good pricing, and do SEO right and advertise right. But it's kind of, Amazon is more like that walker by. You're just choosing location. But imagine if you could run your business lean as hell and still get the walker buyers like coming by your shop, that you might have had to pay a premium for in the past to be in that location and get those types of shoppers. And, if you're doing online well, you can run your business extremely lean and then put your money, instead of into a rent situation or like a high-end traffic area, into ways to get people to find you.
Yeah, that totally makes sense too, because I'm reminded of like the malls. If you ever got a kiosk at the mall or something like that, they're charging you not only the rent space, but a percentage of your gross revenue, because they're the ones bringing over that traffic. They're the ones bringing in people to the mall, food courts, all these different places. So they're already there. So when people are creating their stores on Amazon, are they spending money mostly on like a pay-per-click? Are they spending most of their money on creating the right marketing material? Because I know when I look at a product and I click on it, I have multiple images. I have a video that helps me, see what the usage is like. Am I spending that money just on inside of Amazon, or am I also spending that money outside, like on Facebook or YouTube, to drive traffic?
Well, first, if someone was coming to me and let's say they had a brand, but they've always been like, they don't have a website, they don't have social, they don't have Amazon. Okay. First, we're just going to do Amazon. Okay. I'm not going to push them to do social media and a website when they don't have that. First, we're going to do Amazon. If we can't capture people that are already in the mall, why are we trying to get people to come into the mall? So they're already in the mall. And it is like, if they are brick and mortar, they don't have those image assets. They don't have video. They don't have those things most of the time. So, at first it's like, we need photography. At first I used to like kind of hold back and be like, we can make this work. And I don't say that anymore. I believe photography is one of the number one things you need on Amazon. So it's photography. It's like finding that perfect balance. Like, let's say you had 100 SKUs, maybe we start with 5 that get extra photos, and then it's even thinking like, well, how can we get some graphics made that could tell your story as a brand that would apply to all 100 SKUs? So instead of having to take, a photo for all of them, we're like, maybe we could do a couple graphics and fill some of these slots. And, if you're coming across that product on Amazon that has 7 photos in a video, that's what we're doing for brands. We're helping them out with that. We're helping them storytell. We're helping them improve their conversion rates. We're helping the copy that helped you get to that listing be accurate. But advertising is a big part of it. And so Amazon is kind of like this flywheel. And so every little thing that you're doing on Amazon, from using the FBA fulfillment service to the way you write your listings, to your photography, to your return rate, to your customer service response rates, everything's being tracked, including advertising. And so if you want to rank, like, let's say for like iPhone 8 phone case, you're going to need to advertise on that. And as you get clicks and people buy with PPC, then your listing in Amazon's algorithm will get like a +1 for iPhone 8 phone case, right? So everything's kind of tied in together. I wouldn't advertise if we didn't have the product page looking great. So I think that comes first. What can we do to make the product page look really great, from photos to graphics to A+ pages to storefront design? After that's ready to go, advertising. And if you're maximizing everything you can do on Amazon and it starts getting profitable and we're like, we have something here, then I push them and encourage them to invest in web and social and start building it out bigger. You can just start, you start with one thing. It's hard when you're like doing things at a high level to remember sometimes like just making it work with nothing. But it's possible. If you have a bad product on Amazon, you're going to get eaten up for reviews. If you have a good product, maybe we can sell it even when you don't have everything else. But there's so much you can do if you just think outside the box to get stuff done, whether it's photos, whether it's video, whatever the case might be. Like in the early days for me, I was trading services for people, doing whatever to get the job done. So if you're investing money, the best thing you could do would be to invest in someone that knows something about Amazon, so you don't get in a bunch of trouble and just get stopped before you even get started. After that, depending on what assets you have, you need to make a plan and be like, this is priority 1, priority 2, priority 3.
Is this
Give it a 10? A 10?
That's right, a 10. Is this something that like we can just say, hey, I got X amount of dollars, can I invest with you and you help me start a store? Or is this something where you have to like come in with a product and like really work at it? And if so, like what's that start? Like what's the dollar amount I should have to get started?
Okay, so I don't usually talk about my pricing on here, but for the sake of the listeners, I do want to give like some real value. So if something sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. If someone's telling you they can hand you a turnkey business, think of that more like a franchise probably. And at the same time, if you have no control over the quality of product you're getting, you have no control over how it was set up, you don't know, you're not going to be a good manager. It's like getting an Arby's manager for a Red Robin, right? Mm-hmm. Like this guy has never worked with servers or bartenders or anything like that. He's only dealt with hourly employees. It's not a good manager for the job. And I think that if you're just like, hey, I got money, make a store for me, I don't think that's the move. If you have a buddy like myself that's really good and you want to get in on a project with me that I'm doing and just bring money to the table, I think that could be a good investment for someone. I think just to have someone hand you a business that's operating, you're not gonna have done any of it, so you're not gonna know what to do when it breaks or how to make it better. It's going to be really hard, in my opinion, as someone that's done this over and over and over. Marknology, I'm tired of building people's brands from scratch, personally. Right. It takes a lot of my energy, a lot of my creative like flow to birth something out of nothing. And that's what you're doing if you want to do a great job, is if someone's like, hey, make me a product. I'm like, well, number one, I'm like, if I had a great product idea, I'd do it myself for myself. Right. Yeah. But if they come with a good product, that's a little bit different. Right. Because anyone can have an idea, but does someone have a product? Let's say they have a great product, because I turn business away all the time. I'm trying to like bat well at the plate. I'm trying to hit homers, I'm not trying to, I guess I'm past the years of just let me prove that I know what I'm doing. I've just done it enough, and so I'm trying to.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So I don't have to prove myself anymore. We're an Amazon advertising agency. There's a wait list to work with us. And I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm just saying that, taking a chance on like, let me create a product for you and do it. Like, no, I really want someone to be like, I birthed something. Why? Because it solves a problem, or it's something I'm passionate about, or I'm needing to pivot because of the pandemic, or a reason like that. Not just like, I want you to do the work, So honestly, like, Amazon asked me to create brands for them. They have a program. It's called the Amazon Accelerator as well. I think they probably copied me because I was first, but they have a program that's like asked me to be like, hey, so that program is like you build a brand for them and then they buy it back from you. And even though that would be kind of cool, nah, I don't want to build businesses for other people like that don't have anything to start with. So I know that's kind of a tough answer, but like if you were to hire Marknology, let's say you had a business, you have product already, you've got like boxes and labels and UPCs on your product, and you're like, we want to get on Amazon. We're a business that wants to be on Amazon. We're there already. Can you help us? Our services are about $3,000 a month to work with our team. But you get access to our whole team. It's like, what would that employee cost you in-house? Way more than $3,000 a month, straight up. Actually, like you can't even find one. Probably, I would bet that. Like you might find a guru online, maybe an individual. But if you were trying to hire someone, regardless of where you are, even if are you guys in LA?
We're in San Diego.
You're in San Diego. Okay, love San Diego. If you're in San Diego, I doubt that there are. If I had to bet, even with the companies that are there, I bet that there's not even 5 of me there in all of San Diego, maybe including LA. There's just not that many people that do what we do at a high level. And so you're trying to hire someone in-house to do that when they don't exist.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Yeah, that's exactly
right. That's
right.
kind of how it came across, but I'm like, people think they can bite this off. Like it's really not that easy. It's pretty hard. And like what you do, it's like treat every product on Amazon like it's your own, like it's the only product you're selling and you'll dominate. But with 9 years in the game, and I guarantee you I haven't worked a 40-hour week. I've definitely worked more than that in the last 9 years. You know what I mean? Every week after week, I really have a lot of confidence around the Amazon platform and what it takes to win. And so I'm just not really even interested in partnering with people that don't want to have their own hands getting dirty, figuring it out, you know?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. What about what if you've already done it a number of times. You've already succeeded at doing your whole systems, your whole processes. Have you considered training people to and essentially clone your process and create these individual teams that can be building fulfillment centers or taking Marknology essentially and franchising that type of process?
Yeah, I think that like if a brand works with us, even like they're learning along the way. We're not all secretive about what we're doing. Now, $3,000 a month or $3,500 a month or $5,000 a month is still not enough to be a college or a university, right? Like to just sit there and train every client we work with. No, your mechanic doesn't teach you how to fix the car, right? He does it. He doesn't teach you. You go to a different thing for that. So I do some coaching, and I've been hired to teach teams how to do their advertising. I've been, and I have no issue with that. It's just like it has to be very clear expectations that like our team can work on stuff at such a faster rate if we're not educating the entire time. You know what I mean?
That's what
So yes, we do that. It's just been less rare, maybe because of my positioning, but it's been less rare that companies are like, we have 3 people in-house that are Amazon. We would love you to just come teach them. That's just not really happening. But I try to tell people like, hey, work with us. We'll get it cleaned up. Your team can learn along the way. And then when you guys are ready to take over, we can talk about that and what that looks like. It's just like, the thing with Amazon is you're not an advertising agency. You're not a marketing agency. You handle everything from profit loss to how taxes collected, logistics, brand protection, IP issues. You deal with like PPC and advertising from display to pay-per-click. You deal with inserts and branding and storytelling and video and international translation. If you're like moving internationally, trying to localize translations, and you're just literally helping people with their entire business. And there, you can't just not. So like whenever I see these companies out here that just do one thing for Amazon, like let's say they just do a la carte, like an A+ page, or we just do PPC, or we just do advertising for brands on Amazon, I kind of like wrinkle my brow a little bit, because I have a passion for Amazon. And I know that the way that Amazon works is it's all of it working together, right? So like if you're advertising, a photo showing up, a review showing up, price is showing up, maybe a coupon, like why advertise on a listing that's not ready to go? You know what I mean? So like if you're in advertising and you care about doing a good job and you see a listing that looks like crap, maybe it has one photo and no bullet points or whatever, it should bother you that you're having to advertise on a product that's not ready to go because it's affecting your numbers, So when you understand that, advertising is a huge piece of Amazon, but it comes second to we'll call it PDP or product page, overall optimization. So first optimize that page and how things look, then advertise. Otherwise, you're just sending traffic to a store that looks like crap and the clothes aren't folded and someone's walking in. There's nobody there to greet anyone. And, we've all had that experience too. I like to relate a lot of stuff to brick and mortar. Just like the you go into the Buckle. I don't know if you guys have a Buckle in San Diego. We have a Buckle, and there's like the people working there are great, but they're pushy. They're super pushy. Like they might even tell me I look good in yellow or something, and I'm like, you're tripping. Like I know I don't look good in that color. Like my mom, my sisters, everyone's told me my whole life I don't look good in yellow. So like, you're just lying to me to sell me some stuff. Those are the companies that email you like 100 times a day, or like, are just like in your face, buy. What kind of company you want to be? Online, in person, on the phone, social media? Like, have the same kind of brand, and think about that with the way that you're doing business. Like in the same way, you're like, the principles are the same. Yes. I'm not doing anything on Amazon that is new to business. It's just the way that it's repurposed,
Well, I mean, that's one hell of a journey as far as an entrepreneur. 7 years building a business. You have a great passion. Tell me a little bit about Startup Hustle TV. How'd you get involved? And are you moving into that building in Kansas City?
Yeah, I am moving in. We are breaking ground. I'm trying to make it just like, I try to optimize everything in my life, from my commute to work back in the day to like, how's my desk, my work situation? Do I like the people I'm working with? Like we have almost like a group consensus when we hire somebody, like no one's there that we don't want there. Why? And not in a weird way, like in like we're a team and we all have to like work together and be around each other all the time. Let's have a team that we want to be with. So that's what I'm trying to do at the office in the KCK building. I'm super pumped about that. Getting call rooms. That's what I'm most pumped about. We're getting call rooms so that like, there's 15 of us sometimes making calls all the time with the brands we're working with. And we're all just like talking over each other in this open space. So it's going to be really cool. You'll have to come visit for sure. But Startup Hustle TV, having a lot of fun. Honestly, I don't like, before the podcast, I did a lot of in-person stuff, a lot of social media, Instagram. The podcast brought that video aspect to it and, started talking a lot more. So that was a good stepping stone to Startup Hustle TV because, a lot of people make content a lot of different ways. Marknology grew by word of mouth. I don't really need a ton of content marketing to grow. I want to be that, but our business was just growing so much that there wasn't really a need. And it's forced me to get in front of the camera, talk about some of the stuff we're doing, conquer some more fears that I've had. So we're having some fun. I'm more like I think I'm better candidly. I'm a kind of candid person, like even photos or whatever, at least that's my insecurity. That's just like, when I'm in the zone, when I'm in the moment, like, and I'm just being myself, I think that's the best content. And so like trying to be purposeful about that and get it on the GoPro and stuff has been a little bit of a challenge for me because the moment will pass, when I had some fire shit to say,
Yep.
But, I'm getting better. It seems like every single week, just getting better at being myself and talking real shit,
Yeah. How you liking the episodes?
I'm loving it. Like if I was an entrepreneur, I would be like swallowing it up. Like, I had no mentors at the beginning. I didn't have a business background. I was in a band. I was a techie guy, but that's not the same as business. And I'd have swallowed that up. I'd swallow it up.
All right, last question for you here. Well, last question and / comment. So I want you to make sure that you tell our audience how they can get a hold of you if they want to work with you, if they got brands ready to go. And at the same time, how long have you had the beard and what's the deal with it? What's the story behind it?
Okay. The beard, we'll start with the beard first. So when the pandemic started, I actually cut it off and that was a mistake. I just got like anxious and I'm like, I don't have a barber. Like, what am I going to do? Like this thing is getting unruly. So I cut it off. I was raised pretty religious. Like we couldn't have facial hair, like on the platform or anything like that. And so, never had like a goatee when I was younger, things like that. And I look 12 years old without it, I'll be honest. And I think like I did that 23andMe test and I'm like basically Viking. So it just feels natural now. Like that I know that. I'm like, yeah, this is me. Those are my people, And it's also like this, I don't know. I hope your listeners don't think I'm a complete douchebag, because I swear I'm not. But it's like kind of an alpha thing. A lot of guys can't grow a beard, so it's not even for the ladies. It's like the dudes just like they're nice to me because of my beard. They're literally like, I like your beard, dude. Hey, dude, nice beard. Like, and I'm just like, I have guys making me feel great, and I'm like that. I didn't have that before the beard, so I think I'm sticking with it. And ways to contact me. My Instagram's up here, at Andrew Morgans. Like I have an apparel brand, so I started with Instagram. I like that platform, but expanding everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter. Andrew Morgans or Marknology. You can find us marknology.com if you're interested in doing business with Amazon. I just wanted to be really real on the show, and talk about some of the like truths behind Amazon instead of just being another like guru, go with the flow, like promote it like that, and talk about the real world. Otherwise, it's people signing up these checks to do stuff and walking away and being like, Amazon took all my money, and not understanding. And so I really like to set the record straight when I get a chance to. If you don't like, whether you're working with Marknology or not, there are like legit agencies out there. Do your research, find someone legit. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Okay. But tons of money on Amazon. We're literally growing brands like 4x year over year. Crushing it. If anyone needs help, free advice, just reach out in the DMs. I'll hit you up, tell you, point you in the right direction. Would love to meet anybody.
You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
You got it though, Mark. See, I did it right there.
Boom.
I called you Mark. Boom. I did it at the very end.
Yourself.
I did it. Well, all right, Andrew.
Did you consider failure experience?
There you go. It was experience right there. All right, Andrew, thank you very much for coming on the show, man. Yeah, and I love the real talk, because it's too easy to fall into the trap of cut me a $25,000 check and I'll build you a store that cash flows, no problem. It's super easy, and don't get me wrong, I know there's some people out there that can do a really good job for you on that, but they're few and far between.
Yes.
So, when you get the real story of what's going on, you can make what I always like to say is an educated decision, an educated guess. Because let's be honest, ladies and gents, that's what business is about. You're going to take a risk. You don't know if it's going to work. You're guessing and you're hoping that it's going to work. But with good information behind you, a little bit of research, some due diligence, you have a less likely chance that you're going to fail. And when you do, you pivot. All right. So thank you very much, Andrew, for coming on the show. Thanks for being you, dude, and sharing all this stuff on Startup Hustle TV. Ladies and gents, make sure you go check that out, startuphustletv.xyz. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you hit them up at Andrew Morgans or marknology.com. Thanks again, ladies and gents. We'll see you guys on the flip side until Monday. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation, or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.